The first drug I used was cannabis, and that was when I was about 13.
Kind of enjoyed it at first. Made me feel good, fit in and all the rest of it.
That used to using it now, I have to have it to feel normal. If I haven't got any, I'm kind of irrational and ratty and really snappy.
Because I was there to smoke cannabis, I think it just took the excitement out of it, like, so I just experimented with varying crack.
I think cannabis is by far the most difficult drug to talk about in my experience, because there's a consensus by and large that heroin, cocaine and crack are bad things, but people are very polarised with their views around cannabis. And if you look at the reasons for reclassification, I suppose there are two or three, broadly speaking. The police are concerned about industrial production of cannabis, especially skunk.
If you are going to smoke, try and go for the natural herb weed rather than the skunk, because the skunks, it's laced with all sorts and you never know what you're smoking really.
The problems that are associated potentially with prolonged cannabis use or with cannabis use are memory loss and paranoia, which may be short-lived or may be a long-lived psychosis. Now, there's a lot of debate as to whether the cannabis causes the psychosis or whether it unmasks something that was lurking and waiting to be unmasked at some point. So there's a lot of discussion and debate around that currently.
Before I attended my counselling, my paranoia was like really, really bad. I hated going out in public and everything.
The other big question mark that exists around cannabis is whether or not it's a gateway drug into other more problematic drug use. My personal view has always been that it isn't a gateway drug, but you can find a lot of evidence to say that it is, and a lot of evidence to say that it isn't.
In my head, like smoking the weed, it helps you to disconnect from problems, and if you've got a problem or you've got something that's bothering you, if you smoke weed, it kind of blocks it out for you.
In terms of the positive effects of cannabis, I think they're pretty obvious to most people. It has a very chilling, relaxing effect. It causes euphoria or a happy feeling, and it also causes, one of the big effects is an increased appetite, the so-called munchies. On the other hand, if somebody is withdrawing from cannabis, in terms of the withdrawal symptoms they might get, you'll get lethargy, irritation, loss of appetite, and perhaps weight loss.
Once you've started, and once you've had that one too many, it's hard to get out of it, and once it's got a grip of you, it's really hard to get off you. And my recommendations to anybody who is using cannabis, who wants to stop using, the only way that you're going to stop using it is if you want to stop using it yourself. There's no point doing it because somebody else is on your case to stop. You've got to want to do it yourself.
When you speak to people in the field, nearly everybody you meet will say that they can think of somebody where cannabis has been very devastating for that person, and certainly that kind of anecdotal evidence is something that I would recognise, and I would, in my own experience, share it. I can think of one or two patients in my own practice where I'm convinced it was cannabis rather than any other drug which devastated them mentally.
that used to using it now. I have to have it to feel normal. If I haven't got any, I'm kind of irrational and ratty and really snappy.